As you know, Vladimir Putin has annexed Crimea, part of Ukraine. Russian-backed rebels are also fomenting civil war in other Ukrainian provinces, but Crimea is done. The Russian parliament has formally declared it sovereign Russian territory. Russia doesn't need the land, of course. Russia is already the largest country in the world by geography, and its population is shrinking. This is all about power and tyranny and Vladimir Putin's grandiose vision of a new Russian empire. It's of a piece with his rehabilitation of Joseph Stalin, and it's the prelude to rolling over Baltic countries, perhaps even Poland. That's not new. What's new is a revelation by Bloomberg's security correspondents Josh Rogan and Eli Lake that Obama told Ukraine not to militarily challenge the Russian troops that had infiltrated Crimea to start the slow-motion war. Quote, "The message from the Barack Obama administration was clear: avoid military confrontation with Moscow," unquote. Now, it may be true that Ukraine's military was weak to begin with, and that their government was politically unstable given the anti-Russian protests that had toppled Putin's puppet in Kiev. But Obama's advice to Ukraine was that if they fought back against Russian infiltrators in their own Ukrainian territory, it would give Putin the justification to attack en masse. Well, of course, that happened anyways. And now Crimea is as Russian as Moscow in the eyes of Putin, and the United States still has an arms export ban on Ukraine, if you can believe it. Here's the thing. Barack Obama won't even defend the national interests of the United States, let alone of a foreign country like Ukraine. He precipitously withdrew every single U.S. soldier from Iraq, not even leaving one so he could make a campaign boast about getting out. And in doing so, he handed half the country over to the Islamic State terrorists. He's doing the same in Afghanistan. His nuclear deal with Iran is the most lopsided deal in the history of the world since Manhattan was bought by the Dutch for $24 worth of beads. Of course, Obama betrayed Ukraine as well, as he will surely betray the Gulf Arab states and Israel when war comes with Iran. One last point. About 20 years ago, after the fall of the Berlin Wall, the United States signed a written treaty with Ukraine called the Budapest Memorandum, pledging to protect Ukraine's territory from Russia if Ukraine gave up its nuclear weapons. Ukraine had an enormous nuclear arsenal at the end of the Cold War, but they gave all those nukes up in return for an American promise. Now we know what that promise was worth. Do you think that if Ukraine had known then that a U.S. treaty promise was so meaningless that they would have given up their nukes? Surely not. And Crimea would be still flying the Ukrainian flag right now. And do you think that Israel hasn't taken a lesson from all this on how Obama would throw long-standing allies to the wolves if it suited him? For the Rebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant.